welcome to another episode of Casting Starcraft 2 with Daylac, jumping straight into this TvZ game here on Newkirk Precinct. In the red side we have VYV graNite on the lower right, and for blue we have Xenario as the Zerg on the lower left. Newkirk Precinct actually a very strong matchup for this entire race composition. The map itself actually presenting a number of interesting opportunities for both players. Terran obviously have a very good drop path opportunity along the southern side here, though Xenario should be able to cover that off fairly well with Overlords if he positions them in the right sort of place. And we see a lot of Zergs being able to get some good creep spread, being able to take up to this central Xel'Naga watchtower here on both the north and south sides, being able to control almost half the map with ease. And in fact, map control for this map being actually fairly important with the number of opportune avenues into bases. We often see a lot of Terran players putting Widow Mines in this area here, and of course these Zerg being able to get Spine Crawlers and Spore Crawlers along this side here. It'll definitely be interesting to see how this actually plays out for both players, and we already do see the scouts now moving out across the map. Xenario using the very ugly Overlord skin there. Not a fan of that particular one, but it's certainly been appealing to some players who've been using it. I much prefer the reskin of the Lings. graNite here, no skins at all for his supply depots, and already building up a nice little bank of minerals here, though not actually seeing that early barracks. No barracks here, so he's probably going to go for a fast command center here. In fact, we'll probably see him start to pull an SCV any second now to throw that down, and it looks like there it is now. And Xenario also going for a hatch before pool build as well. So both players playing a very macro oriented style here. Not uncommon to see, certainly at high levels of gameplay. This is actually a Masters level game. I mean, obviously as Terran you want to make sure that you're keeping up with that Zerg economy, so having the early expansion here probably not going to be too much of an issue, though it is going to be seen here by Xenario, who as his Overlord drifts in at an ever so excruciatingly slow rate. So now that he has seen that, we may see some early Ling pressure coming out of Xenario. In fact, I would like to see some early Ling pressure. I mean, a lot of Zerg players will obviously want to go 2-3 bases very quickly, though only just being able to see the barracks is there and only about halfway completed. Xenario's got to be thinking to himself, there's not going to be many Marines out on the field. If he can get 9 or 10 Zerglings over to the side of the map in short order, he may be able to do a fairly decent amount of damage. It would be pretty good to see. Though we don't actually see any Zerglings on the way yet. Queen's already coming out though, and more drones. And we do actually see a third hatchery going down here for Xenario, electing instead to use the fact that his Terran opponent is being greedy, to be greedy himself, going straight for a very, very fast third hatchery. Orbital command coming up soon for graNite here, and it'll be interesting to see how he plays this out as well, because once again he's got this fairly large bank of minerals that he's not done anything with yet, and we're actually seeing a third command center also playing very greedy. Risky play from both players. I mean, either one of them could have gone for a one base all in here and absolutely wrecked the other. In fact, some fast Zerglings or even some fast Marines could have caused so much damage. 2 or 3 Reapers for this build would have been absolutely devastating for graNite to get across and wreck that Zerg economy early on. Though we are already seeing the barracks being moved to an interesting position actually. It looks like graNite here walling in with those barracks. It's a fairly unusual choice, also knocking down the plate here. And I'm not quite sure exactly what he's attempting to do with this, but has he seen that there is actually a third expansion for the Zerg? No, he has not. He's currently unaware that his opponent is actually on as many bases as he is, though this base is not actually mining yet. Though it looks like we may see a Queen moving over there soon. And Ling speed on the way now for Xenario. A good early opening here for the Zerg player. Obviously wanting to get those fast Lings to deal with any Reapers that may be wandering around the map, or any Hellions. And it'll be interesting to see exactly how graNite reacts to this. This is, as I say, he's not yet aware that Xenario does have that third base, and he only still has a very small number of Lings here, though I imagine both players on a fairly similar economies. Yeah, both players here floating around about 1,000 minerals a minute, so Be interesting to see the tech choices that they elect to go for, and also when this orbital command will move out, because moving out now would definitely be an unsafe choice for graNite, and I think he's probably aware of this, which is why it's not been floated off yet. I mean, he does think that Xenario is pretty much still on only 2 bases, and the potential for Lings to come across the map could be very deadly right now. Though we do see double evolution chamber here for Xenario, good choice. Getting those early Zergling upgrades. But again, not much pressure from either player. I mean, Xenario here is droning like absolutely fury, trying to get these bases up and running as quickly as possible. graNite has at least a decent number of Marines in this little force here, but still, both players focusing very much on this more macro-style gameplay, going for these very fast expansions, though we're not seeing much out of this third command center yet for graNite. He should probably be think about moving that down sometime soon, as now with this at least little force of Marines here, he could move that slightly in a more safe fashion. Though it looks like he is actually going to attempt to make a little sortie and push out across the map, just timing this for when Combat Shield is finishing up. No stim on the way yet though, but +1 upgrades going for both players, almost finishing of course for the Zerg, but graNite not too far behind here. Coming in, now finally going to see this third base here for Xenario, and it's probably going to be able to clean this up no problem. Xenario has got a little force of Lings here though, so it'll be nice to see if he actually elects to crush this or not, and he is going to get those Marines wedged into that choke nicely, being able to deal with that absolutely beautifully, causing so many Ling deaths here. Great to see that. Perfect positioning in that little gap there, utilising that small group of Marines very effectively. graNite knowing of course that they were going to be absolutely annihilated there, but being able to at least make sure that they take a very good number of Lings with them, being able to take out 18 supply worth of Lings straight up. Though Xenario now looking to replenish this as quickly as possible, not actually mining yet from this third base, has stopped droning now and is going very heavily into Lings. That is a lot of Lings there. And this third base here for graNite is very exposed. Only a handful of Marines now to defend, though of course the bunker is coming up. And we're already seeing those +2 upgrades for Zerg coming down, along with the Spire, so some mutiling play definitely on the way. And with no scout of that Spire, there won't be a turret here, and there certainly won't be a turret in this natural mineral line either, so we could see a lot of damage coming out, though the factory is checking, possibly checking to see if there are any overlords, and there is actually a distinct lack of overlords for Xenario across this back route here, which means any Terran drop play is going to be absolutely fierce. And in fact, as I say that, there go the Medivacs now across the map. In fact, with a little bit of Ignite Afterburner here, they will be across in absolutely no time. And Xenario is really going to have absolutely no idea that this is even coming, with having no Overlord scout down here, and all of his Lings are hugely out of position being down at the front. This could be an absolutely devastating drop here if this nice little squadron of Marines in these 2 Medivacs can snipe any important buildings. There's obviously the 2 evolution chambers if he manages to stop the +2 upgrades there, or if he even spots the Spire, manages to take that out, or even the spawning pool. Being able to take any of those structures would be so brutal for Xenario right now. The Medivacs have stopped. Looks like graNite paying attention to sniping these overlords over on this side of the map, trying to deny his opponent that vision. And in fact, we see the Medivacs now boosting in. Is he going to be able to snipe either of those Evo chambers before the upgrades are finished? Yes, it looks like he might get one. No, he's stopped by the Lings that are coming. He is forced to pick up and back out there, dealing with that. So close on that though. Only 155 HP left, but it looks like that the Evolved Ground Carapace 2 is going to be finished up. No problem. Actually dropping it again on this side to heal those Marines up very quickly. A smart move here. We have actually seen a sensor tower coming down, being prepared somewhat for any of those potential muta incoming attacks now, and already the missile turrets have been going up around the base, though still none in this natural mineral line. Sorry, none in the natural mineral line, and none in the main mineral line, which is a dangerous choice, a very risky choice. I mean, the turrets up at the front are going to do a good job of defending against the muta harass at the front, but just like those medevacs getting around the back here, the mutas coming in from this side here could get straight into the main, completely bypassing the sense turret with no idea that it's coming. But graNite actually keeping the pressure up here, moving out once more on the offensive, having another drop go in and dealing some damage to those mutalisks here. Looks like he is going to lose that drop, but as he loses that drop, he's got this nice ground force here coming in, and he is going to start cleaning up that ever so important creep for the Zerg that has been spread very nicely here across the map, and may actually move in and be able to take out this third base in short order. Xenario, of course, getting a fourth base up here fairly quickly though, and already mining from that, and bringing his Lings and Mutalist down, ready to deal with this Terran threat here. graNite actually backing out slightly, a sensible and a smart choice here, keeping out, just darting in, cleaning up some creep, and then backing away. Definitely going for a more bio-style play here, and again preparing to do another drop along the rear. Still, no overlords for Xenario across the back. This is a devastating mistake, and I've got to say, as this will be a second Terran drop, and if he can snipe this evolution chamber before the upgrade finishes for the level 3, it's going to be absolutely devastating, especially as the Zerg level 3 upgrades are actually marginally behind the Terran level 3 here, so getting the level 3 armor before it finishes could have such a huge effect in the next engagement. Ultralisk Cavern though, almost finishing now for Xenario, looking to transition into an Infestor Ultralisk style of play, it would seem. Infestor Ultralisk actually proving now to be a strong force in Heart of the Swarm. Certainly a move I approve of from Xenario. Not many Terran players, especially if they're playing a more bio-style play, are able to manage it in any sort of sense of the word, because it takes a lot of Marauders to be able to take out the Ultralisks, but you also need to be able to deal with any Infestors that you see on the field. And unfortunately for Xenario, his army pulled out of position there by a lone Marine harassing that top base, and meanwhile graNite moving in with a huge force here and sniping that third base in a very nice split attack. And once again, these Zerglings are all split up. graNite's going to be able to snipe a few more of those, no problem at all. And managing to keep on par actually with that Zerg economy. Also got a fourth base there. Xenario here trying to expand out to a fifth up at the top hand side, but it looks like graNite is going to come back in and absolutely wreck that and stop that. In fact, not even able to get the cancel off. A 300 mineral cost there. It's actually quite a crucial loss, especially at this stage in the game, though both players actually banking a lot of minerals here. graNite obviously very close to supply max here, but could certainly and should certainly be throwing down some extra production structures, limited at the moment only to a very small number of barracks inside his bases here. But the extra command centers being able to add on the extra mules is going to certainly mean that he can keep his economy and production fairly strong. But I feel like the lack of extra barracks that he could certainly place in this area here is going to cost him, especially later on as this army has been almost cleaned up. And Xenario now at 160 supply to graNite's 147. And obviously as Xenario here going to be able to remax much faster, but graNite being so careful with these drop plays, being able to do so much damage with them, taking out this base, taking out the top side base here. Marauder now moving into position to clean up this extractor here, and Xenario just literally being pulled left, right and centre all the time by this constant drops. And we are actually seeing now the extra barracks being thrown down here for graNite to be able to add on all that much needed production, though he is actually remaxing fairly effectively here. I mean, he's now at 166 supply, 20 over where he was literally only less than a minute ago, catching back up to that Zerg. But Xenario not being able to do anything, just these constant little attacks here from graNite being able to do so much damage, just as Xenario is pulling out across the map as well, this huge force being pulled all the way back by just a well-timed little attack from essentially 2 Marines and 1 Marauder. graNite keeping Xenario so off balance all the way through this game, though will he actually find this 6th base here, maybe force a cancel up on that top side. Xenario actually pressuring towards that now, and it looks like graNite will have plenty of time to get the cancel on that and save those minerals. Though Xenario could have also shut down this base here. Will he do that now? Yes, moving in with the Ultralisk to try and stop that, and there is another cancel. But this huge force of Lings is going to be stopped short by this big wall of barracks here, and the Seeker Mines there being ineffective against those speedlings. graNite though adding on so much production, utilising this huge bank. He's got 5,000 minerals, literally sitting on Oprah money, but again almost maxed out, so preparing for that next big engagement and being able to remax his army in such a huge and efficient fashion. And the transition into adding on the Ravens now is going to be so big for dealing with those huge force of lings, and we're actually seeing multiple drops going out, 2 medevacs over here and a medevac over here heading out across the north side of the map. So we're even now going to see some multi-drops here from graNite. This is going to simply pull Xenario so out of place. He will have seen this top drop here thanks to that overlord that's in position there. Already moving some small force over onto this base here, but little does he realise that that's simply going to leave his hive so exposed here. And in fact, graNite may well actually be able to snipe this right now and deal such a crippling loss. I mean, if that spawning pool goes, that's no more lings for Xenario. If the Ultralisk Cavern goes, that's no more Ultralisks. He's already lost 1 infestation pit. The lings only just arriving now to try and deal with this, but I feel it's like it's going to be too little too late. There goes the hive now. He manages to get the pickup. The Mutalisks are there, but they're not going to be able to stop those medevacs with speed boost. It looks like he's going to be able to drop again. If he can take out that second spire, this could be absolutely devastating here for Xenario, but no, that Marine Force is going to be picked up. A couple of fungals going down there and a number of Mutalisks in the area being able to deal with them in short order. But already, again, we're seeing another drop up here to deny this hatchery. Xenario not even getting a cancel on that, moving his force out across the map, determined to try and crush his Terran opponent now. And in fact, he really needs to. I mean, he's got the Ultralisk Cavern there, but with no hatchery up here, that is very quickly going to die. He's got the Spire back out, but he has no infestation pit, he has no spawning pool, he's lost all of his major tech. His army here is literally it now, and he needs to do so much damage with us. But Seeker missiles are going to cause devastation, absolute devastation. That Zerg army cut down from 200 supply to 160 in literally a matter of seconds. And these narrow choke points created here by these barracks mean that graNite is simply able to peel this entire army apart, microing and kiting backwards all the time. Down to 150 supply though, Xenario trying to remax as quickly as possible on simply lings to keep this pressure up with all of these ultras still here. In fact, you can see now, but we have actually a drop here from graNite in the meantime while this is all going on, taking out those remaining miners. For Xenario, he's only got really got 1 effective mining base. This base is almost mined out and almost has very few workers left at it now. And just a constant stream of lings being poured across the map, but these barracks all working overtime to add on more and more marines. graNite here still got a fairly respectable force here, but Xenario, this is exactly everything that he's got, and these SCVs repairing that planetary fortress is going to cause all these lings and all of these ultralisks to simply be torn apart. The number of ravens now in the area, more Seeker missiles going down. This could be game, especially as those ultras go, and there is the GG, and that is the game.